Hello and welcome. So today I'm going to be going over the Belly of the Beast operation event that's going on right now in Warframe. This is going to be the best time to just get you a bunch of arcanes. Specifically the arcanes from the planes, like the ones in Cetus when you do the Tridolons and whatnot. This is just hands down the best, fastest, cheapest, easiest, whatever verb you want to use, just way to go ahead and grab these and snatch these up and just get you complete sets of all of these arcanes. Because there are so many arcanes, I do want to go over them, but I may not talk about all of them as in depth as other ones, so just bear that in mind. And then I'm also going to talk about my little Zephyr build here that I'm going to be using for the event. It's the same build that I basically used last year, and I had a lot of fun with it, so I'm just going to show it off, and then hopefully you'll have fun with it as well. Also, if I can't see Ortis. So if you're having issues finding Ortis or you don't know where he is, the actual operation event itself is on Uranus, but Ortis is on the Mercury relay. So just travel to Mercury, go to the relay, then fast travel to Ortis, and you will see him. So let's just go ahead and talk about these. So we've got different motes here. We've got the volatile motes and the vestigial motes. The volatile motes are from the operation, and then the vestigial motes are just what you get through normal ascension. So let's just talk about all the rewards that we have, all the cosmetic rewards, all the new rewards. You've got the different mods here for the Stalker, kind of, on brand given that this is Jade and everything. And the big inclusion here are the Archon shards. So I really do enjoy seeing these here, but I do think that 100 motes is just maybe a little pricey. So I kind of wish that for the 100 that these cost, that these just would have been Tau forged out the gate, or at the very least, like reduce the price of these and then make it so that we can buy threes of all of these so that we can just make our own Tau forged. So hopefully that's something that they do in the future. But yes, I still enjoy seeing it. And now let's talk about the arcanes. And as you can see, there's a lot to go over. So I'm going to try and do this as fast as I can. So arcane consequence here. This is just for like funsies. So I like this. I'm going to recommend that you get this. This is more so just like a quality of life arcane to just parkour through like tile sets just really quickly. Like I use this on Ivara whenever I'm invisible. And yeah, for just 2 volatile motes for one of these things, you can max a bunch of these out pretty quickly. And I think that this is just a neat little pickup to go ahead and grab. And then we get to Arcane Ice here. And then it's just not Arcane Ice. It's like all of the resistance arcanes here that make you, well, basically immune to whatever the thing is that they say they make you immune to. As we get more of these secret bosses, like the Arcane Ice here came up with the secret boss from the Guilty because of all the heat procs that you get from it. So you never know when these things will pop up. So I would recommend just grabbing them just so that you can have them if they ever do pop up. Like I don't have the Arcane Warmth here. I'm going to grab this during the event because, well, I don't have it. And I don't know what DE plans in the future, and I don't want to, have it be a nice little surprise. I want to be prepared. So yeah, that is my advice as far as the resistance arcanes go. Just go ahead and get all of them. That way you have them if you need them. And then for Arcane Victory here, this is just some healing. Spoiler alert for later on in the video, if you're part of a clan, you can get Arcane Grace, so I would recommend just to get Grace over Victory. Arcane Strike is going to be really good for any melee frame to just have a bunch of attack speed on, so this is going to be good for like your Kalervos, this is going to be good for your Valkyrs, your Wukongs, and whatnot. So if you like using melee frames, I would recommend using this on them. The melee attack speed is going to be really, really great. We do have Guardian here, and Guardian back in the day was pretty good, but because of all of the like shield gaining shenanigans and shield tanking and persistence and all that stuff, I just don't think that Guardian is quite up to like what it used to be. You can get it for, like collection purposes or whatnot, but I haven't really been using Guardian all too much as of late. Arcane Eruption does come up a little bit for like squishier Warframes if you're running like Gloom on them and whatnot. When you pick up an energy orb and then they just get like knocked down, they're slowed through that whole process. So this acts as like an extra layer of survivability, so that can be nice. Arcane Acceleration is fire rate on primaries. This can be useful, and you can get it if you really want to, but I don't think that this is a priority. This may come up in the future if you just wanted to have it to have it. I understand it, but this is a little lower on that priority list. Arcane Trickery is basically Ash's Arcane, and given the trailer that we saw with Ash and Garuda and their proto skins and whatnot, I think there might have been, some Ash mains that were made during the making of that video whenever, it got shown. So, yeah, if you're an aspiring Ash main, or maybe you've been an Ash main for a while, I would definitely pick this up. Similarly to Trickery being for Ash, Arcane Velocity here, this is for Mesa, and this is for Titania for just making their secondaries just fire really, really quickly. So if you're a big fan of those Warframes, go ahead and pick this up for them. Persistence is a lot of secondary just weapon damage. We do have arcanes that do like give damage as well, but you can slot this into your Warframe to also have like a different arcane in your weapon slot if you wanted to do like a different build because of just how much damage that this gives you. So Arcane Aegis, this is the arcane that if you don't like running the Ascension event, you don't like doing the alerts, you just don't really care for much at all, I would recommend just nabbing one of these so that you can at least have access to Aegis and all of the tankiness that this provides you. Just try and do one mission, that way you can get this and you'll be set in a whole new world of just tankiness and immortality or whatnot you can use and have access to. I would recommend that you have it at like max or whatnot, but that's not really needed. That's just more so a completionist thing. Arcane Arachne is an interesting one. So this just adds a bunch of weapon damage for secondaries and primaries. And this also works on certain Warframe abilities because of, well, some of the spaghetti code that this game has. Like, for instance, Stynax's 4 is coded as weapon damage, and there are various other things in the game too. That's just the first one that comes to my mind. But yeah, because of that interaction, you can give damage to things that don't ordinarily have damage, and you can do some pretty interesting shenanigans with it. I think Nova's 1, also counts as weapon damage. I think I'm right on that one. Anyway, yeah, this is just useful to just go ahead and pick up and just participate in the Warframe shenanigans, which, I mean, you're playing in Warframe. I really hope you enjoy some shenanigans. So I would pick this up, honestly, so that you can be a part of all of that. Arcane Fury is, well, in the same realm as Arcane Strike here. Really good for just melee builds, for like melee Warframes. You can use it on Kalerva, you can use it on Valkyr, you can use it on Wukong, you can use it on Gara, you can, insert melee Warframe here, you can use this arcane on. And it is really good and adds a bunch of damage. And then finally we have Arcane Avenger. So this adds 45 crit chance to your final critical number, basically. So if your crit value is 10 and then you get damaged, your crit value is now, well, in this procs, your crit value is now 55. So it just adds 45 flat to whatever your final value is. So the way that you want to use this is with the Aura mod combat discipline, so that when you get kills, you damage yourself, and then when you damage yourself, this triggers the arcane. So this is a great way to go ahead and make weapons that do not ordinarily crit, and, well, you get to do some fun little shenanigans with that, and I think it's pretty cool. And then now we're moving on to the clan side of things. We've got the cosmetic rewards here. Arcane Barrier, this doesn't usually ever come up. I have this just for collection purposes and whatnot, but you really do not need this. I think the two big ones here are Grace and Energize. And let me talk about Grace here just briefly. So Grace is been used a decent little bit more thanks to arcane persistence and all of like the healing that you can get from it, because you just build a lot of health, and grace is percentage based healing. So the more health you have, the more grace heals you. So because of that, certain warframes, once grace procs, effectively you just kind of become immortal. So yeah, I think this is worth a pickup if you are into just like really tanky persistence builds and things like that for warframes that could take advantage of those. Some that come to mind are certain builds with like Araxia, and then certain builds with Inaros. I'm sure there's other ones too, but those are just the two that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. And then lastly, we have Arcane Energize. So when this event first came, I think everyone just rushed to go ahead and get a bunch of Energizes. But funnily enough, I don't think that this is like a big top priority. If you wanted to go ahead and grab it, of course, by all means, go for it. But with how we have just energy like in the game through just like mods like Energy Nexus, Zeneric got better, we have Nourish, we have Noko Subsume with Bright Bonnet. There's just a lot of different ways that we can get energy that do not rely on Energize. So is this as important as what it used to be? No. Is this still a good arcane? Absolutely. Because you can really just throw this into any Warframe and you're going to be just fine. So I would say to pick this up, but I wouldn't say that this is the like first one or two arcanes that you should do maybe. But
Very well.
Yep, and then for the Vestigial motes down here, this is how you're going to get Jade, and then this is also how you can get like the Harmony and then the various other weapons as well. I really like the Harmony. This does a lot of damage, and then, well, funny enough, also in tandem with melee afflictions here. To just go ahead and just you heavy attack with it, and you just do a bunch of damage. I have a video with Varuna just kind of showing this off, and yeah, it's pretty strong and pretty good. I also have a separate video of Jade just showing off what she does, so you can go ahead and watch that to get an idea of like how to build her or what she does to have some fun with Jade, because you're going to get a lot of these things as you're going through the game modes. And then going over the other arcanes here, I already talked a little bit about Afflictions. Afflictions is really good for the Harmony, like I mentioned. You can also use it on Warframes like Gara and whatnot. So yeah, Afflictions is pretty good to have. Ice Storm is basically Frost, the Frost arcane. So if you're a big Frost main, I would go ahead and pick this up, of course. Secondary Fortifier is really good for Mesa and for Hildren, to go ahead and just give them, or to, get rid of the Overguard and then to give them a little bit more survivability. So this is really great on them. You can also just go ahead and just throw this on a secondary weapon too if you want. And Arcane Battery is being used a little bit more recently, again, because of the persistent shenanigans and all the armor that Warframes are having now. Thanks to Battery, that armor is being turned into energy, and it's quite a bit of energy. You can get up to 1,000 energy, which is crazy. And Surge is ability cast. Okay, we don't use Surge. At least I don't. But yeah, so that is all of their rewards and whatnot. So now let me go over my build. So this is for Zephyr, and then I'm going to go over my Archon charts here. I've got some max energy on spawn, I've got casting speed, I have duration, and then I have an equilibrium shard. All of these are to taste. You 1,000% do not need these. Use whatever you want here. It is not necessary. And then for the build itself, I'm just going with a bunch of range, prime flow for a bunch of energy, bunch of duration, energy nexus. Hey, I said that a few minutes ago. It's almost like this mod is really good or something. Rolling guard in case we get affected with any status effects, we can just kind of roll them off. Prime sure-footed is prime sure-footed, and then corrosive projection is corrosive projection. The notable inclusion with this is Arcane Concentration, to just go ahead and just get a bunch of duration so that we don't have to worry about our abilities being down or anything. We can just cast it and we're going to be good for a while. The big reason why I really like this build is because Zephyr is really good with silence. So with silence, it's really good in this game mode because of just how much range that I have. It pretty much covers like the whole like Ascension map or whatnot. So this turns off like the Xmas abilities and whatnot that can damage you and your allies. And then when you're also doing the Steel Path version of this and you've got like Silence active, it also turns off the Sisters abilities as well. So it makes them sitting ducks more or less. So you can just kind of hammer them and just, just consist with the bombardment and just, get rid of the Sisters and just kind of continue with the operation event. But yeah, no, Zephyr is phenomenal. You do not need power strength on this build. Zephyr is crazy strong. And then the reason why I have an open mod slot here and then an open arcane slot is you can slot anything in these slots and this build will still work 1000%. You can change the aura mod too if you want to. Not that big of a deal. You can customize and change this build as you want to, but this is what I basically ran last year. And if you run this, I think you're going to have an awesome time just, basically just turning off everyone's abilities and then just having a lot of fun just going around and collecting the motes and whatnot, the receivers to go ahead and summon the sisters and then get those rewards as well. The weapons don't really matter a whole lot. Just run whatever you have. Just run, your good weapons and whatnot. But that's basically about the end of the video and the end of my whole thoughts about the Belly of the Beast event. I think this event is great. And if you do like the event, if you're like me, you're going to be running this a lot. So thanks for watching the video. Thanks for sticking around to the end. And I will catch you later. Bye.